Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevara. Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 10, Prahlad, the best among exalted devotees. So far we studied how Lord Nrsimhadev gave benedictions to Prahlad Maharaj, and Prahlad Maharaj was like, no, I don't want any material benedictions. Still, Lord told him, you have to take him, and you rule over all the property of the demons, and you will rule till the end of Manvantar. And then Lord Nrsimhadev was very pleased, very satisfied with him, and afterwards the demigods, now beginning with Lord Brahma, they felt now it is okay that they can offer their prayers. Text 26 onwards. Shri Brahma Vacha Deva Deva Khiladhyaksha Bhuta Bhavan Purvaja Dishtiyate Nihataha Papo Loka Santapano Asuraha. Lord Brahma said, O Supreme Lord of all lords, proprietor of the entire universe, O benedictor of all living entities, O original person, means Adi Purusha, because of your good fortune, because of our good fortune, you have now killed this sinful demon who was giving trouble to the entire universe. The word Purvaja is described in Bhagavad Gita, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo Matta Sarvam Pravartate. All the demigods, including Lord Brahma, are manifested from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the original person, the cause of all causes, is Govinda, the Adi Purusha. So he was referred to as original Purusha, the Purvaj. It was means who appeared before anybody else. Of course, the Lord is always there. He manifests and unmanifests, but he is the original person. Yo aso labdha varo matto navadyo mam srishtibhi tapo yoga balo nadha samasta nigam anahan. This demon Hiranyakashipu received from me the benediction that he would not be killed by any living entity within my creation. With this assurance and with the strength derived from austerities and mystic power, he became excessively proud and transgressed all the Vedic injunctions. Dishtya tat tanaya sadhur mahabhagavato arabhaka tvaya vimochito mrityur dishtya tvam samito adhuna. By great fortune, Hiranyakashipu's son Prahlad Maharaj has now been released from death. For although he is a child, he is an exalted devotee. Now he is fully under the protection of your lotus feet. Etad vapuste bhagavan dhyayatah paramatmana sarvato goptra santrasan mrityur api jighansatah. My dear Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are the Supreme Soul. If one meditates upon your transcendental body, you naturally protect him from all sources of fear, even the imminent danger of death. Everyone is sure to die, for no one is excused from the hands of death, which is but a feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mrityu sarvharascha. When one becomes a devotee, however, he is not destined to die according to a limited duration of life. Everyone has a limited duration of life, but a devotee's lifetime can be extended by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, who is able to nullify the results of one's karma. Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhaja. This is a statement of Brahma Samhita. A devotee is not under the laws of karma. Therefore, even a devotee's scheduled death can be avoided by the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord. God protects the devotee even from the extreme danger of death. Hmm. So, a devotee's scheduled death can be avoided by the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord. Because once somebody becomes a devotee, then he's not under the jurisdiction of Yamaraji. He's straight away under the jurisdiction of Krishna. He can extend or he can even shorten the lifespan of somebody if he wants to. It's all up to him. Depending upon if the devotee, if he needs some more time to finish up his bhakti, he can give more time. And if he has already advanced and Krishna thinks, it's enough for him to stay there, let him come back, then that devotee goes back. Just like in the life of Ajamil, we studied, he was about to die. Yamdutas were there to take him away, but Vishnudutas came and they gave him an extension of life. So then Ajamil understood. He learned his lesson. So he went to Haridwar and where he performed his austerities. And then when there was time for him to go back, then Vishnudutas came. They took him back. Shri Bhagwan Uvacha Mavam Vibho Asuranam Te Pradeya Padma Sambhava Varaha Krur Nisarganam Ahinam Mritam Yatha. The personality of God had replied, My dear Lord Brahma, O great Lord born from the lotus flower, just as it is dangerous to feed milk to a snake, so it is dangerous to give benedictions to demons, who are by nature ferocious and jealous. I warn you not to give such benedictions to any demon again. Although it was all a pastime of the Lord that the Hiranyakashipu was Jay and he was supposed to become such a powerful demon, but the Lord was so angry at Brahmaji also. Why in the world did you give such a benediction to Hiranyakashipu? That he tried to kill my devotee. That was the worst part of the benediction. So he says, I warn you not to give such benedictions to any demon again. But again, Brahmaji and then Shivji gives benedictions to Ravan because this happened in Satyuga and following Treta Yuga or some other Treta Yuga, when Ravan comes and Ravan also gets a benediction, Kumbhakaran gets a benediction. Of course, not as severe as Hiranyakashipu got, but still. And this is the position of demigods. Anybody who does some austerity, some tapasya to please them, they are bound to give benedictions. And if it was up to Krishna, if somebody pleases Krishna, now it's up to Krishna whether to give benedictions, not to give, what to give, how much to give. He just can do whatever he wants. Shri Narad Vacha iti uktva Bhagwan Rajans tataschantargate hari adrishya sarva bhutanam pujita parameshtina. Narad Muni continued, O King Yudhishthir, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is not visible to an ordinary human being, spoke in this way, instructing Lord Brahma. Then being worshipped by Brahma, the Lord disappeared from that place. So, actually, Prabhupada explained that this pastime happened in the heavenly planets. It didn't happen on Earth. It didn't happen on Earth. But some other time, it must have happened. It must have happened on Earth also. And or even if it happened in the heavenly planets, the Lord is completely free to go anywhere. Because what I'm getting at is, there is a place in Navadvip a very beautiful temple there, and near the temple there is a lake. And it is said that, and that's a temple of Lord Nrsimhadev. And it is said that Lord Nrsimhadev, after killing Hiranyakashipu, he came there to bathe in Navadvip. So different kalpas, different pastimes. So many kalpas go on. So many differences in the pastimes happen. But it is said that Lord Nrsimhadev went there and he bathed over there in that lake. ततः सम्पूज्य शिरसा वन्दे परमेष्ठिनं भवं प्रजापतिं देवान् प्रहादो भगवत्कलः. Prahlad Maharaj then worshipped and offered prayers to all the demigods, such as Brahma, Shiva, and the Prajapatis, who are all parts of the Lord. ततः काव्यादिभिः सार्धं मुनिभिः कमलासनः दैत्यानां दानवानां च प्रहादं अकरोत्पतिम्. Thereafter, along with Shukracharya and other great saints, Lord Brahma, whose seat is on the lotus flower, made Prahlad the king of all the demons and giants in the universe. Because this was the order of Lord Nrsimhadev. By the grace of Lord Nrsimhadev, Prahlad Maharaj became a greater king than his father Hiranyakashipu. Prahlada's inauguration was performed by Lord Brahma in the presence of other saintly persons and demigods. Pratinandya tato deva prayujya paramashishaha swadhamani yayu rajan brahmadya pratipujitaha. O King Yudhishthir, after all the demigods headed by Lord Brahma were properly worshipped by Prahlad Maharaj, they offered Prahlad their utmost benedictions and then returned to their respective abodes. So they all went back to their abodes. Now they were free. They had their own kingdoms. They had their own palaces, which are taken over by Hiranyakashipu. And they made Prahlad Maharaj the king of the demons, and they went back to their respective abodes. Evam cha parshadau Vishnu puttratvam prapito dite hridhi sthitena harinam vairabhavento hato. Thus the two associates of Lord Vishnu who had become Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, the sons of Diti, were both killed. By illusion, they had thought that the Supreme Lord, who is situated in everyone's heart, was their enemy. So this is really Maya, when we think the Lord is our enemy. The discourse concerning Lord Nrsimhadev and Prahlad Maharaj began when Maharaj Yudhishthir asked Narad how Shishupal had merged into the body of Krishna. Shishupal and Dantavakra were the same, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Here Narad Muni is relating how in three different births the associates of Lord Vishnu were killed by Lord Vishnu. Associates of Lord Vishnu were killed by Lord Vishnu himself. First they were the demons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Punascha vipra shapena rakshaso to babhuvatu kumbhakarna dashagrivo hatau to rama vikramah. Being cursed by the Brahmins, the same two associates took birth again as Kumbhakarna and the 10-headed Ravan. These two Rakshasas were killed by Lord Ramachandra's extraordinary power. Shayano yudhi nirbinna hirdayo ramashayaka tachitto jahatur deham yatha praktan janmani. Pierced by the arrows of Lord Ramchandra, both Kumbhakarna and Ravan lay on the ground, left their bodies fully absorbed in the thought of the Lord, just as they had in the previous births as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Tavihat punarajato shishupala karoshajo haro vairanu bandhena pashyataste samiyatu. They both took birth again in human society as Shishupal and Dantavakra and continued in the same enmity towards the Lord. It is they who merged into the body of the Lord in your presence. Vairanu bandhen, acting like the Lord's enemy, is also beneficial for the living entity. Kama, Dveshat, Bhayat, Snehat. whether in lusty desire, anger, fear, or envy of God, somehow or other, as recommended by Srila Rupa Goswami. Tasmat kenapi upayena. One should become attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and ultimately achieve the goal of returning home back to Godhead. What then is to be said of one who's related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a servant, friend, father, mother, or conjugal lover? So in any way, if we are attached to the Lord, and look at these two, Shishupal and Dantavakra, they had the enmity towards the Lord, but still they went back. So whether in lusty desire, anger, fear, or envy, if somehow everybody becomes attached, they ultimately reach the goal of returning home. And then Prabhupada said, what to speak of devotees who serve the Lord as a servant, friend, father, mother, or a conjugal lover? What kind of destination they are going to get? Ena purva kritam yat tat rajana krishna verina jahuste ante tadatmana kita peshas krito yata. Not only Shishupal and Dantavakra, but also many other kings who acted as enemies of Krishna attained salvation at the time of death. Because they thought of the Lord, they received spiritual bodies and forms the same as his. Just as worms captured by a black drone obtain the same type of body as the drone, because they keep on thinking about the drone when they get killed. And this example is given in Bhagavatam earlier also. The mystery of yogic meditation is explained here. Real yogis always meditate on the form of Vishnu within their hearts. Consequently, at the time of death, they give up their bodies while thinking of the form of Vishnu and thus attain Vishnu Loka, Vaikuntha Loka, where they receive bodily features the same as those of the Lord. From the 6th canto, we have already learned that when the Vishnu Dutas came from Vaikuntha to deliver Ajamil, they looked exactly like Vishnu, with the 4 hands and the same features as Vishnu. Therefore, we may conclude that if one practices thinking of Vishnu and is fully absorbed in thinking of him at the time of death, one returns home back to Godhead. Even enemies of Krishna who thought of Krishna in fear, bhaya, such as King Kansa, received bodies in a spiritual identity similar to that of the Lord. So this is the yogic perfection, to think of the Lord at the time of death. But Shishupal and Dantavakra, they also attained salvation. Of course, as we have, Shishupal and Dantavakra are exceptions because they were the associates of the Lord, Jay and Vijay. But other demons who get killed, like the other demons who killed in Vrindavan by Krishna, they got a different Sayujya Mukti. They all merged in the body of Krishna, except 2, obviously. But Shishupal and Dantavakra, they went inside the body of Krishna and then they continued on. They went back to Vaikuntha. Dheeraj Prabhu, please mute yourself. Text 40. Yatha yatha bhagavato bhaktya param ya vida nripash chaidya idaya satmyam harestachintaya yayuhu. By devotional service, pure devotees who incessantly means without any stopping, think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, receives bodies similar to this. This is known as Sarupya Mukti. Although Shishupal and Dantavakra and other kings thought of Krishna as an enemy, they also achieved the same result. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, in connection with Lord Chaitanya's instructions to Sanatana Goswami, It is explained that a devotee should externally execute his routine devotion service in a regular way, but should always inwardly think of the particular mellow in which he is attracted to the service of the Lord. So, particular mellow means particular relationship. Of course, those are instructions to Sanatan Goswami. And since we are in such a neophyte stage, we don't even know what kind of relationship we have. So all we know is, I just want to serve him. That's all. This constant thought of the Lord makes the devotee eligible to return home back to Godhead. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Tyakta Deham Punarjanma Naiti Mame. After giving up his body, a devotee does not again receive a material body, but goes back to God and receives a spiritual body resembling those of the Lord's eternal associates, whose activities he followed. So, resembling those of the Lord's eternal associates, whose activities he followed. So, when we talk of following the activities, so as we know, there is sadhana bhakti, there is Vedhi sadhana bhakti, then there is Raganuga sadhana bhakti. So Raganuga, when we talk of Raganuga, Rag means attachment. Anuga means to follow. So the devotees or the associates of the Lord, and here Prabhupada says, those of the Lord's eternal associates. So the associates of the Lord, as we know, they are in different relationships. Some are in the Shantras, of course. We don't follow Shantras like the trees and the flute and Yamuna and the rocks, and there's so many. And then there is Dasiras, then there is Sakhyaras, Vatsalyaras, and Madhureras. So they are called Ragatmika devotees because this is their Swarup. They are not Rag Anuga. We are Rag Anuga. We have to follow. So suppose we think of or treat Krishna as our little baby, then when we should meditate on the mood of Yashoda Maya or Nanda Baba towards Krishna. Prabhupada has written in the purport here, that's why we are talking about it, but otherwise we are not in that position. And then if I think I am in conjugal mood, then I can think of the, of course, not the mood of the gopis, but the mood of Manjaris. Because gopis' mood is still very, very high, very high. So Manjaris is something that we can hope to, or we can aspire to attain, that bhav. But still, it is way too high for us. So Prabhupada further says, however, the devotees like to serve the Lord. He may constantly think of the Lord's associates, the cowherd boys, the gopis, the Lord's father and mother, his servants, and the trees, land, animals, plants, and water in the Lord's abode. Because of constantly thinking of these features, one acquires a transcendental position. Kings like Shishupal, Dantavakra, Kansa, Pondrak, Narkasur, and Shalva were all similarly delivered. This is confirmed by Madhvacharya. Pondrak, Narkasura, Shalva, and Kansa were all inimical towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because all these kings constantly thought of him, they achieved the same liberation, Sarupya Mukti. The Jnana Bhakta, the devotee who follows the path of Jnana, also attains the same destination. If even the enemies of the Lord achieve salvation by constantly thinking about the Lord, what is said to be of pure devotees who always engage in the Lord's service and who think of nothing but the Lord in every activity? and always engage in the Lord's service with love and devotion, not out of envy, not out of jealousy, not out of any grudge. With love and devotion, they always engage in the Lord's service. So we can't even imagine the destination they're going to have. आख्यातं सर्वमेतत्ते यन्मां त्वं परिपृष्टवान् तमघोषसुतादीनां हरे सात्म्याम् अपि द्विषाम्. Everything you asked me about how Shishupal and others attained salvation, although they were inimical, has now been explained to you by me. Esha Brahmanya Devasya Krishnasya cha Mahatmanah Avatara Katha Punya Vadho Yatradi Datyayo. In this narration about Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, various expansions or incarnations of the Lord have been described. And the killing of the two demons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, has been described. Avatars or incarnations are expansions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, Govinda. As it is said in Brahma Samhita, I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, who is original, personal, non-dual, infallible, and without beginning. Although he expands into unlimited forms, he is still the original. And although he is the oldest person, he always appears as a fresh youth. Such eternal, blissful, and all-knowing forms of the Lord cannot be understood by the academic wisdom of the Vedas, but they are always manifest to pure, unalloyed devotees. So this is the only way to understand the Lord by. So it says, Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atmam Bhakta. So Adurlabham, the easy to understand for whom? Atmam Bhakta, pure, unalloyed devotees. Brahma Samhita describes the avatars. Indeed, all the avatars are described in the authentic scriptures. No one can become an avatar or incarnation, although this has become fashionable in the age of Kali. The avatars are described in the authentic scriptures, Shastras, and therefore before one risks accepting a pretender as an avatar, one should refer to the Shastras. The Shastras say everywhere that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead and that he has innumerable avatars or incarnations. Elsewhere in the Brahma Samhita, it is said, Rama di Murtishu Kala Niyamena Tishta. Rama, Narasimha, Vara, and many others are consecutive expansions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. After Krishna comes Balaram, Sankarshan, then Anirudh, Pradyumna, Narayana, and then the Purush avatars. All of them are avatars. One must hear about the avatars. Narrations about such avatars are called Avatar Katha. The narration of Krishna's expansions. Hearing and chanting these narrations is completely pious. One who hears and chants can become punya, purified of material contamination. Whenever there are references to the avatars, religious principles are established and demons who are against Krishna are killed. The Krishna consciousness movement is spreading all over the world with two aims: to establish Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and to kill all the pretenders who falsely present themselves as avatars. The preachers of the Krishna consciousness movement must carry this conviction very carefully within their hearts and kill the demons who in many tactful ways vilify the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Of course, we don't kill the demons, we kill their demoniac consciousness. If we take shelter of Narasimha Dev and Prahlad Maharaj, it will be easier to kill the demons who are against Krishna and to re-establish Krishna's supremacy. Krishna is the Supreme Lord, the original Lord. Prahlad Maharaj is our Guru, and Krishna is our worshipable God. As advised by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Beach. If we can be successful in getting the mercy of Prahlad Maharaj and also that of Narasimha Dev, then our Krishna consciousness movement will be extremely successful. The demon Hiranyakashipu had so many ways to try to become God himself, but although Prahlad Maharaj was chastised and threatened in many ways, he rigidly refused to accept his powerful demoniac father as God. Following in the footsteps of Prahlad Maharaj, we should reject all the rascals who pretend to be God. We must accept Krishna and his incarnations and no one else. So very, very heavy statements by Prabhupada. But this is the truth. Krishna is the only God. Of course, he has expansions, he has different incarnations, come to perform different pastimes. Like Nrsimhadev came, he killed Hiranyakashipu, blessed Prahlad Maharaj, gave assurance to the devotees, to the demigods, and then he went back. He didn't perform too many pastimes. But then there are Ram, Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They perform many, many pastimes. But anyway, so point is Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. It's originally it's Krishna is the Supreme Lord. So this is what Krishna consciousness movement is, to establish that truth, which is the absolute truth mentioned in the scriptures, and to establish that the Krishna Bhakti is the topmost activity that one should perform. Okay, so I guess we can stop here. See anybody have any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna.
So, Prabhuji, I understood one thing, that there is no way for someone who is in middle. I mean to say, either one should develop extreme animosity or enviousness for the Lord to come in to the notice of the Lord, or one should develop extreme pure devotion. Then only Krishna will bestow his blessings. Those who are in between, for them, is there any hope?
Well, the hope is that the devotees will bestow their mercy. See, without the mercy of devotees, one cannot develop bhakti.
Yes, Prabhuji. And also about the rasa, which you mentioned. So in this Kali Yuga, what is the safest rasa to develop connections with the Lord? Like, is it the Dasya ras?
See, among all the rasas, all the relationships, service, not the dasya ras, but service is prominent. Everybody serves the Lord. So we just develop the mood to serve. In what relationship? Every soul has its own relationship with Krishna. So whatever is our relationship, it will manifest whenever we are ready. We are not ready yet. We are not pure enough yet.
So when you mention about Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti, so without practicing sadhana or Vaidhi Bhakti, can one directly elevate oneself to the Raganuga Bhakti?
Nope.
No, right? Except
No.
the gopis.
Except the
Gopis, only gopis.
gopis, they don't have to do Vaidhi Bhakti. They are already at that level.
Yes. That's what I'm saying, that only gopis has that position, that worshipping Lord with the Raganuga Bhakti. But for us, those who are
Ragatmika. That's why I say it is high topic. They're different. They are on a different level. We do Anuga. Anuga means to follow. They do
Yes.
Ragatmika Bhakti. The technical terms.
So we should rather only consider, always keep that feeling in the mind that we are the servant, and service is only means for us to develop pure devotion in the heart.
Yep. We just follow the safe path. Otherwise, otherwise the fear is one becomes sahajya. Sahajya means sentimentalist. And then he can deviate.
Right. Yes, Prabhuji. So because sometimes what happens is just imitations, as just saying the denizens of Vrindavana. So sometimes there is a tendency to imitate them. So that is again aparad only. So
Oh
we
yeah.
should.
Oh yeah. Big time.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
You're welcome. Hare Krishna. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada.